Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my amazing co-host, Rachna. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good,
How are
you're
you?
good. How'd you feel about this episode this week?
Yeah, I got a bit spicy.
It got really spicy. And if this is your
Yeah.
first time joining us here on Reality Realness, well, welcome. We're going to get to the spice of it all very shortly, but make sure you do subscribe and be part of our little community that we're trying to build here on Reality Realness. So I'm fine, but I just watched this episode and I have to say that I was very frustrated the whole time. I don't understand why these people can't communicate better. And it reminded me of when I stopped watching the Housewife franchise like 10 years ago, was because I was like, why are they just fighting? Like, I don't like I want to see some real it just felt fake. It just feels like they don't resolve things, so they have a storyline. Like I found myself to be frustrated for most of the episode, and we'll get through it. Obviously, I still took notes and wrote everything down, but many times I wrote, I hate so and so. Oh my god, I hate so and so. Oh my god, I hate so and so. Like, I don't actually hate anybody, but like I was just frustrated with them. So that's kind of where I'm coming from this recap. But you were looking for drama. So did you get the type of drama that you were hoping for?
I mean, yes, there was drama, but I'm, when I compare it to the other franchises, it's not the same kind of drama. And maybe I'll never get the same kind of drama for New Jersey, and that's okay. I'm just, yeah, like really confused about what's going on. Like,
It's all about like who cares? Like everything is a big who cares to me. Who cares?
yeah, and I'm just like, the one question I have is like, are all of the husbands this involved? Like in the other franchises, like do we
Really?
see as many clips of all of the wives talking to the husbands about the drama? Like the fact that the husbands care about the drama so much to me is really intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if it's just kind of culturally about that area. Not most, but a lot of the people from this franchise are Italian families. And so maybe that's kind of what's normal, because we do get a lot of like, you're supposed to stand up for your family, stand up for your brothers. Like, so that could be a sensibility that comes from their culture. So I'm wondering if that's why the husbands are more involved, because that's just what people that they know do. But from the other franchises, I barely know the names of the husbands.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like I really asked myself a lot today's episode, this episode, is this for the cameras? Like how much is this for the cameras versus what they're actually feeling?
Well, and it's actually not a storyline. Like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
none of it. It just never gets resolved, and I don't understand why people that are my age or older are not able to resolve these petty fights. Like, I
I
don't mind people
agree.
having an argument when it comes out of something and they're frustrated, and even if it goes to like, getting in someone's face, like not that I want anybody to get into any physical altercations, but I can understand sometimes how people might, you know, go too far or whatever, and it could be entertain me. I can see it being entertaining at sometimes, just to seeing how people naturally react in a situation, right? So not
Yeah,
entertaining like, oh my god, this is so much fun, but fascinating. Sorry, I'll say fascinating is a better word. But
yeah.
I'm not finding this fascinating because I feel like they're all really dumb.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. Yeah.
Like, is this it?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
exactly.
not
That's exactly my thought too. Like, what is there to say? I mean, there's lots to say. We're gonna spend an hour talking about it, but
yeah.
um,
Well, I'm wondering, like, is it because I'm Canadian that I don't understand how to interact with people this way? But if somebody, okay, if I was the Jen in a situation and someone was coming at me because like they didn't like what I said about them on Twitter, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'll take it down. And then
I
wouldn't it
mean,
be done?
yeah, but like, can we just also state that that tweet about her calling the Gorgas crooked, like they have shown that tweet on every single, now 6 episodes this season. Like even the producers are reaching. Like, do we really need to be reminded every episode that Jen Aiden called the Gorgas crooked? Like,
And
come
highlight
on.
crooked.
Yeah, exactly. Every single episode. Am I wrong, or am I just misremembering?
No, I mean, I don't remember an episode where they didn't have the tweet
Exactly.
be on display.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they must be reaching, or the fact that they don't like they're not giving anything in other than this storyline, like as the Housewives, and so they're just like, oh, we got to make people understand why this fight is still going on because it actually doesn't make any sense. Because who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when I started watching Salt Lake City, I was also like, really? Like you're fighting about something about how a hospital, like what somebody said about how a hospital smells? And like for me,
Well, I mean, I can understand not the fight, but like being offended and hurt. And it seems as though Jen, like how when she's hurt, she lashes out. So I understand a little bit more why Jen was like, Mary, like you said I smelled like a hospital and my aunt's dying and she had her legs amputated. Like that's go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, my point was just like for me that dragged on a little bit, but then it eventually got resolved. But there's still episodes where they're arguing about things that happened in the previous season, and I'm like, really, are we still talking about this? But for me, those, I can't think of one right now, but those things still,
Jen's vagina.
Sure, but like those things still seem more appealing to me than what these girls in New Jersey are fighting about. I don't know. Is it maybe that like the New Jersey women or the New Jersey families have less money, and also that the show is a bigger part of their lives, like so they actually don't have that much going on in their lives?
That's possible because it does seem like in all the other franchises, people have these businesses that they're able to focus on and have parties that they need to throw, or they need to go on a group vacation somewhere. And so maybe they have like their baseline money that they have on their own outside of the franchise is a little bit higher. So they're used to doing things that are a little bit more esteemed. And these are just like wealthy, like, middle class, like high end middle class families. They're not super ultra rich. Like they're a few million, which is a lot of money, but like compared to like 50 million or 100 million, it's like it's kind of peanuts. So maybe we're onto something. Like maybe they're just not at the same level of wealth as some of the other franchises. Definitely not Beverly Hills.
Or even Salt Lake City. I feel like the women of Salt Lake City have a lot more money than the women of New Jersey. And so, and they also like, they have businesses and they have lives. And I'm like, does anybody on Salt Lake City have
anything going on? But Melissa has something.
She does?
Melissa has something going on. It's just like some sort of maybe a store or some sort of business.
Oh, okay. And I know like Teresa has books and stuff, but yeah, I feel like all of their success is due to the franchise, the show.
Well, probably if they've been on the show for 10 years, like Teresa has, like it is her life and it is her paycheck. If she's making a few $100,000 a year from this show, you kind of, and she's the star of the show for sure. You want to make sure that you keep that position, that you're not going to get fired, that you're going to get your few $100,000 next season as well. So speaking of Teresa, so we start off this episode with Jen trying to get in touch with Teresa because Teresa just stormed off. Now, did you I guess we'll get to it, but I'll just jump ahead a little bit. At the party, Teresa completely pretends like nothing happens. Like, what did you think about Teresa just leaving at the end of the last episode and obviously the beginning of this one?
Well, I was really shocked when she came back. And I think that because they really played it up like she was done. Like I thought she was done with the show almost. Because she was like, well, if it means that the love of my life, as she keeps saying, is being implicated, then I don't want it. So I was shocked that she came back. And, as far as she's concerned, maybe Jennifer didn't see her storm off, and all of that was just between her, the producer, and the cameras. So I can see how she thought she was just going to play that off. And even if she knew that Jen had seen her, she could have still just kept it between her and Jen.
Mm-hmm.
But Jennifer told everybody, and so everybody was intrigued, and so it became a whole big thing. So I think Jennifer made it into a bigger thing. I mean, yes, there was something big there going on, supposedly.
Well, I mean, I guess I understand, like, Jen, she's a chatterbox. She gossips, she
Yeah,
talks. That's her thing, and she doesn't even realize that she's doing it.
yeah,
Is what it looks like to me. And I think that she was genuinely concerned because Teresa is supposed to be having this barbecue at her house
yes,
with people
yeah,
that she can't stand. And
yes,
so when they show up to the Teresa's barbecue, where's
yeah,
Teresa? I don't know. She just left and she's not
yeah,
answering my calls. So
yeah,
I think it was circumstantially that she made it bigger than it was, but it's because she had no information from Teresa
yeah, that's
and it's
true.
Teresa's party.
Yeah, Teresa
So,
should have messaged her and said, I'll be back,
hey, or cancel the party or tell people that like I'll be there shortly. Something came up, like
Yeah.
something. But
And this is a moment where I was just like, okay, the producers must have had something to do with that. Like they must have convinced her and Louis to go back to the party. But yeah, like she decided, it was her party, and then she did nothing to host it.
absolutely, and just like kind of left Jennifer to the wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she kind of not begged, but she asked Jennifer to be able to have this party, even though Jennifer did not want to have this party at her
Yeah,
house.
Jennifer was being a good friend to Teresa by having it at her house.
Exactly. So I feel like as the host that Jen was in the right to be saying, like, I don't know what's going on. She just left in a
Yeah,
tizzy.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
So we have like all these getting ready montages. So I guess they're getting ready for the barbecue. It seems like I couldn't tell the timeline exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Dolores and Frank's relationship. I am. He comes in and she's getting ready and he's like, "Oh, you look 25 years younger." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, you met her with all the work that you paid for."
Yeah.
And I'm like, some people could say that, and I could see her getting very angry, but she's like, "No."
She laughed. Yeah, because she's like, yeah, that's hilarious.
I like them.
Yeah, me too.
They're a check on me. I can even give a pass for any times where Dolores is pot stirring, any of that, because I like her. I like her enough. And I do think that even though she's a bit of a hothead, she does have some sense and she's a little bit more rational than some of these other women.
Well, I think she chooses when to be rational and when to
Fair.
like she really shocked me this episode.
Fair, exactly. But
Yeah.
like that's she constantly shocks me in a way that I like.
Yeah.
More than we'll say the majority of the women on this franchise. Like right now, I don't know if you agree, but I'm team Jen, team Teresa, and team Dolores. Those are the three people that I can stand after this episode.
Yeah, I agree. The others are
like, I can't believe I like Jen. But it's probably because she's a bit of the underdog and they really are attacking her and she can't
it's
do
in
anything
relation to
right.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe if they were normal and kind people and like they were trying to hear her out and she just kept on like always doing these shady things, maybe then I would not be on her side. But the way that they treat her, talk to her, speak about her, like confront her in a group setting, like it's pure bullying in my opinion. And like then they crucify her for having a reaction. Like I'm just like not down with how they manage their relationship with Jen. It's just
but okay, like I had to so the scene when they're sitting and eating dinner and Margaret brings up the video again.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conversation moves away from Louis and the video. I had to rewind that a couple of times. And I feel like in some instances, Jen could choose to just let it go and walk away from the conversation, not just physically walk away, but just like not insert herself. And then she does, which brings everything back to her and why everybody hates her so much. So I feel like,
what did she say again? Just remind me of how that happened.
I forget what it was, but it might have been, I forget what the first thing she said was. But I think it was about like Margaret bringing up her secret. And I think it was within the context of Teresa saying to Margaret, you know, Louis doesn't owe you an explanation. And then Louis was like, we can have this conversation. Also, can we talk about Louis in a minute? And how he handled this conversation.
Okay, let's rewind.
Yeah,
let's
but yeah,
get there.
it was like Louis was like, you know, addressing Margaret, and she was like asking him about the video, and then I think Jennifer was going after Margaret within that context of like, you know, Margaret, you're always off base. You exposed my secret. And you know, I get Jennifer she's hurting, and so she's still acting out because of this, you know, affair stuff that's come up at Margaret's, you know, Margaret brought it up. But I feel like the conversation really took a turn because she said that, when the conversation was really just supposed to be about Louis.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that, and like let's lead back up to how we got there. So we do see Jennifer on the phone call with Bill, and Bill's going to be coming home. She mentions that Teresa kind of just left, and Bill's like, "Is she coming back?" And she's like, "I don't know." And you know, Jen's kind of like, you know, wary now that she's going to have to handle this party without Teresa. We see Dolores telling Frank about Jackie's comment again. That's the one thing I'm like, yeah, you do really care, Dolores, about that comment. That comment's not a big deal at all. Like, It's not that crude. It's not that disgusting.
No.
But whatever. So the Sprinter van leaves, and so that's with basically everybody from Melissa's house. They're all on their way to Jen's house. And so have you heard of a huff out?
I mean, I have now.
That's kind of fun though. I'm like, oh, if you're gonna have, have I ever had a huff out? Like, I've been in a couple of fights, but I just like allow people to just like say what you want, and then like we're done. Like, that's kind of how I like, you know, if you like, I'll listen to you. If I value the friendship, maybe I'll try to work it out. But if I don't, then you can spew your venom, and then I'm done. Like,
yeah,
that's how you really feel. That's what you want to say. You say it. And
I mean, I walked out of like family things that just like upsetting things are being said. I just leave because I'm not interested in engaging, but not with friends.
Like, if you need to have a huff out and stuff, like, I would never be prepping myself to go to an event with like knowing that we all each have each other's back if like it gets too spicy and we have to have a huff out. Like, who are they hanging out with? Like, I can imagine hanging out with somebody where I need to have that as a disclaimer before we go to the event.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's also, like seeing like an ex-boyfriend or something. Like, oh my god, if my ex-boyfriend is there, like I really don't want to see them. Will you guys be with me and like stick with me and we can leave together? Something like that. Yeah, I get.
Yeah, like that's like a serious thing, but like over discussions about a video and accusations of like cheating, like it's not real. Like I said, these women don't have much going on in their lives, and so these are the things that keep them up at night.
Man, like one thing that's really bothersome is that Margaret, of course, said in the Sprinter van, or I don't know if it was a voiceover or she actually said it out loud, but she was like, this has nothing to do with Bill. And I'm like, it has everything to do with Bill. The fact that you think that you bringing up Bill's infidelities, which like whether it's a secret or not a secret, or you feel that Jen deserves to be punished for the fact that she revealed some truths about you in a way that you thought was unkind, like you are using Bill as a way to get back at Jen, and that has everything to do with Bill Like,
Yeah,
so the fact that she feels
exactly.
justified in like using Bill as a way to hurt Jen, I think it's nasty.
Yeah, I agree. And it is hurting Jen more than it's hurting Bill, because they're still all saying, "Oh, Bill is a great guy." Well, maybe not, they're not all saying that, but they're definitely letting him off the hook, and Jen is taking the flack for it.
So frustrating. And so
Yeah,
um so
misogynist.
it maybe that's the deal. Like they're not
Yeah,
they won't hold him accountable, but they'll hold her accountable for these petty little things.
yeah,
Like I get it. Like nobody wants to be talked about and like but like if it's who cares? It's
yeah.
just that's my whole big disclaimer of this episode is like who cares?
Who
Like
cares? Yeah,
come on. There's more important things going on. Like who
yeah,
cares? Like
yeah,
if I like gossiping, like it's like something a little more juicy, you know?
yeah,
Like um what I found fascinating, like before Aunt Delvey was like, a TV show, hearing about what she was doing and all the stuff that was coming out, like that's interesting and fascinating. And like, what's the psychology behind like what you know what I mean? Like, okay, I can gossip and get behind that kind of story, but like this lame video that I think is pretty self-explanatory as to what was going on.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
see you do
agree.
too.
Yeah,
It's so annoying. So everybody showed up at the party, and like I had to laugh when Bill didn't want to answer the door. So
yeah. That
Jen
was
goes,
hilarious.
answer the door to all these people that that hates her and she doesn't like very much, giving them all the kisses whenever they come on in, and everything's sort of normal, making in the drinks or whatnot. Jen starts mentioning that she's not sure where Teresa is, but it makes sense because it should be Teresa opening the door because she's the host of this particular party. Um, and so then Jackie really irritated me this episode because to me, she doesn't seem like she's a, what's the word I want? A consistent in the type of friend or person that she wants to be, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because she flipped on a dime, which we'll get to, but like she's saying, like, well, if it's not true, then stick up for your man, all this stuff about like what do you mean if it's not like you have to stick up for your man? I was told I had to stick up for my man if it wasn't true and all this. And I'm like, Jackie, wouldn't you want to just be like, hey, like maybe not want to have people yelling, defending your partner. Anyways, it was just like I just was the beginning of me getting annoyed with Jackie piping in with her 2 cents because I don't
yeah.
agree
I
with
mean,
it.
I think the key thing about this episode is that Melissa invited all of those people to her house. They bonded over vodka or whatever, and a whole bunch of like other shenanigans, and then it set this really clear divide between Dolores, Teresa, Jennifer versus the rest of them. And I think Jackie got really like caught up in that.
I guess so. So it's kind of like a group mentality. She's like on that group side now. Like she's allowed into the group, and so she feels as though she can put her 2 cents in. But that's the thing. It's like it feels to me that she's not. She's kind of wishy washy. You
Sincere.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. She is.
Insincere. There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
so I just was starting to see this, and I'm like, it's still too wishy washy, two faced. Like, it made me not trust Jackie, and I wouldn't trust her as a friend. I wouldn't trust her as a confidant. Like, it seems as though she goes wherever the wind blows, or when people accept her, and, she can have a storyline. Like, I'm not a fan anymore. Even though I
Yeah.
appreciate what she shared about her own journey, I think that that's brave. So that's not had anything to do with that, but how she's interacting with these women, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan. How many episodes this season? I hate these women. I mean, I'll
Let's
still
look
talk
it
about
up.
them, but
Let's look it up.
like, geez Louise. So Melissa and Jen decide to hash it out. I'm just like, no, just like don't bother hashing it out. Melissa's another person that like I think she needs to learn how to get over it because we already talked about it a little bit, but the crooked comment is not that big of a deal. Is it still up on? Well, maybe you should talk to the producers because they keep on airing it. But like nobody cares about the fact that she said like your crooked family. Like, well, you know what? Like Teresa did go to jail, and people are concerned about not getting paid from your husband. So It's
Yeah.
not that far off with people maybe using that word as a way to describe the family. It's
Yeah.
rude and it's unkind, absolutely, but like just get over it. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's because I think I have a hard time having any sympathy for Melissa because she just seems like the annoying little sister. Like
Look at
not
me, like
even
pay attention to me.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm such a good wife. I
Yeah,
stand up for my
exactly.
man. I'll fight for
Exactly.
him. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It just seems a little bit juvenile. And I think she goes a lot younger than the other ones, right?
well, she's like 39, 8 or 39. Like she's born in probably
Okay.
like 1981, maybe. That's
Okay.
my
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't I
See.
mean, yeah, I think she's just lived less life than the others, like
And she's lived a lot of it on this show.
yeah,
So
and she's been with her husband probably since she was really young, right?
I don't know how long they've been together, to be honest. But okay, well, how old is she? Oh, she's born in 79. Her birthday's March 21st.
Oh, okay. But is she older than is she a
No,
lot
she's
younger
the
than
youngest out of all of those women,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Jen is. Jen could be close to her age.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Let's see. What's Jen's last name again?
Aydin, Aydin.
Let's see if we can find her birthday. She's 77.
So she's a couple of years older.
Yes. So yeah, I think that Jen is the youngest. I don't think anybody's younger. Oh, how old are you? Maybe Jackie could be. Could be.
Yeah, Jackie could. That's true. I just don't know that like Melissa has struggled. I mean, maybe she has and I just don't know, but like I feel like a lot of the other women have experienced like some real hardship.
Mm-hmm.
Like an eating disorder or
Divorce.
jail time. Exactly. Yeah, like exactly. So
No, I agree that she definitely has lived less of a life than some of these women. Okay, so Jackie's 70, born in 76.
oh, so she's even older. Okay. Okay.
Hello. Hi, DM Rock. So DM Rock says, I feel like Melissa started that fight with Jennifer by walking towards her. We're getting there.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that statement. 100%. Okay, almost there. So Teresa, we see Teresa and Louis in the van next, and Teresa's like, "Oh, there's cameras here." Like, so I guess like she's really trying to protect him. She's really trying to protect him, and I understand that she can see how this show and the cameras and all this nastiness can ruin friendships and relationships, and so she does not want this to interfere with her relationship with Louis, who she feels very strongly about. They've been dating for a year, so I understand why Teresa's being super protective. I get it. But so they're in the van and they're going to go, well, to Teresa's party. And they get there, and Louis, I think he's really good at like, interacting with the people. The guys start razzing him a little bit. We see Frank, poking fun of him a little bit. And I was like, okay, this might be okay. Like, how are you feeling about them entering into the party?
Yeah, it seemed like it was all going to go well for a minute,
Yeah, Teresa's like nothing, pretended like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then who started it? Was it Melissa that started it, or was it who started? Oh no, it was Tracy. Who put a quarter in Tracy?
Yes, Tracy. Like, what was going on with Tracy today? Like, there were a lot of things where I was just like, really? Is that really your place? Like, you've known these women for 5 minutes.
I would have been if I would be like, get out of here, Tracy.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
Out.
I think I think again she was trying to ingratiate herself to Melissa, and who is her friend, and Melissa really took it. She was like, yes, my friend's here. She's egging me on. I'm gonna do this.
Well, and so the conversation's like, well, like we heard that you left in a Jennifer told us that you left in a fit. So making it like how they phrased that made it seem like Jennifer was starting some big whole gossip thing around Teresa. So I feel like they're
Exactly.
trying to get Teresa to be mad at Jennifer in this situation.
Yeah, they
And she's
are.
like,
They
oh
are.
no, I didn't think that. Oh no. I didn't leave like that. Like she was completely brushing it off. And I was like, Teresa, you left in a huff. Like you swore at the producers and you took off your mic. But
Yeah, and
you know,
I really thought that Teresa was gonna turn on Jen in that moment.
I was worried about that, but like that's really disrespectful to show up to actually disappear.
Oh, agreed.
Don't give Jen the heads up on what's happening. Like if you wanted Jen to keep her mouth shut and not say anything about this at your party at her house, she needed to have just sent a text and being like, "Hey, like I'm sorry that I left like this. I will be back for the party. I want to see if Louis still wants to come. Please don't
Yeah,
say anything to anyone. If we show up, we show up. Just say something came up though until we get there."
yeah,
Whatever. Like, and she would have been like, "Oh, like something came up. Like, hopefully she'll be able to make it." Like, that's probably what she would say.
yeah,
Because these are not her friends to be gossiping with. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely.
So they're coming at Teresa, and she just was like brushing it off completely. And then Margaret put a quarter in Margaret, and she's like, "Well, like we want him to address the video." And I was like, "Why? What does it have to do with you?
Six episodes later.
What does it have to do with you, Margaret? Why is it like who cares?
Yeah,
It's not like he's doing anything in that video from what I saw that was harmful to anybody that he's going to be indicted for, that like, he's going to be sued for. Like there's nothing about that video. And as we both have done every single episode, we talk about how much the video is not that big of a deal.
yeah.
But she needs to know. She needs to know about that video. She's the
Yeah.
nosy bitch.
Like, what does she need to know exactly? Like, specifically, what is the question that she needs answered? Because I guess now the question is, I mean, well, whatever. We'll get there. We'll get there.
So Louis is about to address it, and Teresa's like, "We don't have to do that. You don't have to do it if you don't want to." And he's like, he wants to address it, and I know you don't have to. You don't have to. I was a little bit irked by how Louis spoke to Teresa, because he was like, "If you don't let me talk, I'm going to get up and leave." And then he kind of prefaces or like says to the group after, "Oh, like I have to say that to her so that she understands," or something like that. Like, so
Yeah.
that whole thing kind of went down. It could be editing that we didn't see the whole sentence, so it could be misconstrued a little bit. But I didn't appreciate how he was speaking to her in that particular moment.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I do understand that it's annoying that she's trying to protect him and he just wants to speak for himself.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I agree with you on both parts. Like, he clearly wanted to say something and she obviously didn't want him to say anything. And I almost feel like she has an ulterior motive. It's not just protecting him. Like, there's definitely something. She's protecting herself. There's something there that makes me feel like there's something else going on that she's protecting or
well, it seems like from the did you watch
fighting.
the previews for the next episode?
Yes.
And so, unless I'm making it up, isn't it coming out that he was abusive to his ex-partner in front of their kids? And so that's maybe that's the protection that that Teresa wants to hold on. So maybe she didn't want him to see that part about it, or you know what I mean? Like she just didn't want it to bring up because then they'll be like, well, look what he's done to, his ex. He could easily do that to you. How do you know he's been reformed? Blah, blah, blah. So I do understand if she's trying to prevent an even bigger story from coming out.
Yeah, I get that. And I think that in Louis addressing Margaret, he almost brought up more questions because his whole thing was, I wasn't able to be vulnerable with this woman and end my relationship, but he was actually proposing to her in the video, or like saying that he was going to propose to her in the video.
Well, I agree that it sounded confusing, but I think what he was trying to say was that he was he wanted to do what was right for that woman. Like he was trying to like give her what she wanted, even though that's not what he actually wanted.
Yeah, okay.
That's my
That
take
makes
on
sense.
it.
Yeah.
I was just
That
kind of
makes
like,
sense.
if he's saying that this woman was whatever, however she was, and that she wanted the marriage and she wanted all these things from him, and maybe they did have that altercation, and maybe she was threatening to go to the police or something like that, or press charges, and so maybe that's when this video came out, that he wants to maybe salvage their relationship for that reason. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just trying to rationalize with the facts that I have, but I don't know officially.
Again,
But it's not that much of a like an off base story for us to see in the preview for the next episode, them talking about it some more.
Yeah.
And then Joe, someone put a quarter in Joe, and he pipes in with, and you Joe vicious lies about me. And I'm like, they're not that vicious. You wouldn't be that upset if there wasn't some truth in it.
Truth. Yeah, exactly.
If someone called me a crook, I'd be like, for what? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I would be not upset by it at all. Maybe upset if it was somebody that I cared about their opinion, but if I don't care about their opinion and it's untrue, I would not care at all. So
yeah, I mean, he made a comment that like he works with banks or something, and that that might have like impacted his relationship with banks, but like banks are not going to be like, oh, this housewife tweeted about you're crooked, we're not going to bank with you. It was probably like, oh, you've been late on your payments and there's this public allegation about you being crooked, therefore we're no longer going to bank with you.
Well,
I feel like
maybe, but like, I think that if that banks are not necessarily looking at whatever Jen is saying as to whether or not they're going to give him a loan or whatnot. I don't think that is part of their determining factors of whether they're getting financial aid or whatever. I don't know what he needs the banks for. It's capital.
Yeah.
But I can understand just a teeny bit though. If he's worried about his reputation, fine. But like nobody, like you keep on bringing it up, so it's actually becoming a big deal.
Yeah,
and
nobody would be saying that unless you didn't bring it up every episode.
Exactly. So now it could be like, if the banks do watch the show and they keep on seeing brought up and be like, oh, maybe there's something more to this. But if he was just shut down, not spoken about, like give it the story no legs, like I highly doubt that the banks would be affected by a tweet or an Instagram post that Jen probably has deleted since.
Yeah.
But they keep on bringing it up, so they keep on showing it on the screen.
But has she deleted it?
I'm actually not sure, but I would imagine that she would delete it just to like try to diffuse the situation. I can't imagine that it'd still be up there.
Yeah.
Like that would be quite wild if it was.
Yeah.
So then I wrote, I really don't like Margaret. Like, I don't know why, but it was probably
I said it last week. I really don't like Margaret.
Tiki shows up mid-fight. I thought that was entertaining.
That was so entertaining. Yeah.
Like
Tiki shows up and Bill is like standing in the corner, like he's literally hiding from everything.
And like, did you notice that when Tiki showed up, like Tracy was all like she totally like sprung up. So I guess she it just something that I noticed. So I'm gonna wait to see if that's gonna be a thread that I can pull, or pull back later, because I was like, that showed me a little bit of something about their dynamic, and I'm curious if that's gonna be something that we can talk about later. So, and then I wrote, I hate these people. So Mel and Melissa and Jen are fighting now. And so Melissa, as DM Rock says, basically charges over at Jen, right? Like walking aggressively towards Jen. What is she going to like butt heads with her? Like, and do, you know what I mean? Like, what was she planning on doing? So Jen puts her hands to move her out of like coming into her space. I think it's fair game.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I'm a pacifist, but if someone's coming at me and I thwart their arm, I think that I'm okay. Like, I think that
Yeah.
I'm in the right because I stood in
Yeah.
the same spot. You came at me aggressively. I protected myself. Like, how everybody turned on Jen and Jackie be like, "You're disgusting." Like, so what? Jen is supposed to stand there and maybe get smacked in the face? Is that what they want? Like, do they just want everybody to jump on Jen and beat her up and her not defend herself? Is that what they want? Is that going to satisfy them?
I think it was Melissa reaching for a table flip moment.
Maybe. You took that moment away from her.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Anyways, like, so that's when I started just like being angry, more so angry at Jackie, being like, I'm so done with Jen. I'm done with her. And it's like, because of that, like, she didn't do anything much differently than you were siding with her a couple days ago. So the fact that you're done with her for the fact that you're at her house, someone came at her aggressively, she thwarted her arm, and all of a sudden you are done with her. Like, what really changed other than the fact that you've been hanging out with the enemy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was really like really interesting of Jackie to say that. I'm done with her.
So then Jen, I'm a fan of Jen. Like, she's a little bit, at least she's like, doesn't go down without a bit of a fight. But she's just like to Jackie, she's like, and then you said that my husband stuck it in another or whatever. And Jackie's like, he did. And I'm like, Jackie, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. All of it.
Yeah, it's just like everybody just wants their like one line on camera or something.
Okay, so hi, Chastity. Okay, so you don't think that Jen started the fight by calling Melissa's husband a bitch? Okay, so that had that. Oh, did I write it down? Maybe I just thought I'd remember it. But okay, so she said like little bitch boy to Melissa's husband. Okay, so would that be something that you would get up and try to start a fight? You bitch boy.
No, I feel like honestly, I'd probably just walk away. I don't know that I would like start a fight. I'd probably just be like, I'm done here. Like, I don't need to be in this kind of friend group.
So I guess that's what was so disgusting that turned Jackie off was the fact that Jen called Joe a bitch boy.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me, this part, because on the one hand, Jennifer is like a really good wife and a really good mother and a really good daughter, and like, she throws really good parties and her house looks beautiful and she dresses really well and her hair is really great all the time and her makeup is perfect. But then she has like a real filthy mouth and says really horrible things. So I think that just makes her like a more interesting character to me more than anything. Like
Who?
Jennifer, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's like really polished, but also really
Unraveled.
feisty. Yeah.
Unhinged a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what Chastity said. Dolores Wood.
Yeah, these girls that we're talking about. It's true. It's true. I don't know anybody like this. I've never been in like an area where people are super scrappy. I've never personally been in any sort of physical altercations throughout my entire life. If there's a fight that starts at a bar, I'm gonna leave. Like, it's not a vibe that I've ever really been around. And I guess I've not really, maybe since high school, been in any sort of like verbal altercations where I low blow. And
no, I think that name calling is just like a cheap shot. And if you're gonna take a shot, like an actual shot.
So do you think then, since Jen kind of threw the first punch here, that Melissa was warranted in moving aggressively towards Jen? And then do you also think that it's warranted for Jackie to be done with Jen for that comment?
I mean, I don't think that like physical altercation is ever warranted. I can see how Melissa would be offended, but Joe wasn't offended, or I didn't see Joe be offended. So I think it's a reach for the camera. I almost feel like I it's almost like somebody said that to Jen and then she repeated it. Do you know what I mean? And then, Melissa took her moment for the camera. And I think she just reacted the way that she knows how to react. I feel like these women probably grew up being scrappy this way. And, as we've seen on the show, like physical expressions of emotion are quite usual. And so I feel like they were just behaving the best way they know how. Jackie saying, "I'm done with Jennifer," I think was a real surprise, but also based on her spending the weekend at Melissa's house, probably,
Just a
just
little
more.
brainwashed.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely like groupthink mentality is going on
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So Chastity here is saying that Melissa shouldn't have gotten up if she wasn't going to do something. It made her look silly. Well, exactly. So
Exactly.
she was just standing up to and like rub noses with Jennifer. Like Jennifer probably didn't want that. She just got a new nose. It's looked terrible.
Well,
um,
that's what Melissa said later in the episode. We see her saying, "I was upset. I needed to stand up." And it's like, well, okay. Did you though?
Did you though? No. It's like none of these things would get me that mad. I'm trying to think what would get me angry right now, and not
I mean,
that
I don't.
much.
I tend to not get angry when I'm in a group of people. Or if I do get angry, but I don't show it unless I'm like with one or two people in my life. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't relate to this kind of very expressive anger.
Do you know what? I'm always the mediator in any type of situation like that, and so that's usually my role would be like trying to filter what people
Confused.
were saying, yeah, diffuse the situation. I'm like, well, you're not necessarily hearing what they're saying, and like I become the middleman. So that's usually my role. I try to freeze the situation for sure. I definitely would not be. I'd be getting in between them, being like, don't be standing up. That's dumb. So I wrote down the bullies left because I do think that they're bullying Jen. I do think that they're trying to bully Louis. Like
Yeah.
oh, we're all thinking it. We're all thinking it. It's like, well, do you know what, Margaret? How about you just talk for yourself right now and
Yeah.
be like, hey, Louis, like I saw this video. I don't really understand what happened in it. And I don't want to be talking about it and trying to decipher it with other people. I'd rather just come to you and have a little discussion as to what it was. Cause it's like, I'm unfamiliar with like people doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Kind of normal, right? Lord. So the bullies left. Melissa's pissed at Teresa for not leaving and not for standing up for her brother Joe and her husband. So what do you think about the fact that Teresa didn't say anything to Jen about calling Teresa's brother a bitch boy? Teresa's probably like, it's my younger brother. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I think Teresa's just like, oh my God. Like he's just an annoying younger brother and I don't give a shit. He is a little bitch boy.
That's what I
Like
would think. If
who
someone
doesn't
called my brother a bitch boy, I'd be like, what did he do? He probably is. He's annoying.
Yeah, what older sister doesn't feel that way about her younger brother often? Like even as adults. Like I think that's normal to feel
Yeah.
that way about your brother. Yeah.
Or to not be standing up like bitch boy, maybe the crooked thing she could maybe stand up for him, be like, hey, that makes our family look bad, like, like could you maybe not say stuff like that? But like the bitch boy comment in the middle of a fight, it's not that, I don't think it's a big of a deal. But it could
Yeah.
be that all this is just evidence for me to support Jen because everybody else is making me
Is
more
not.
mad. And
Yeah.
so like maybe if I didn't like Jen, I could see it from their perspective, but right now I'm trying to defend Jen a little bit. So there's a montage of everybody getting up the next morning. We see Jackie talking to her husband. I'm done with Jen. Margaret talking to her husband Joe about the video again. Who cares, Margaret? You're so vapid. Tracy Tracy, she's starting to get on her horse again.
Yeah.
Telling Tiki about like she had a great time and about the night, and he's like, that was a good time. Like, you had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, call her out, Tiki, because that wasn't a fun time. And
No.
if I was Tiki, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to be in a friendship, like a couple's friendship with Melissa and Joe. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It's not good for the brand, I don't think.
Well, the thing is, no, but their friendship with Melissa and Joe is what got them on the show in the first place.
True, but Tiki, I think, has enough money, no?
Oh, yeah, he's like so far above it. He's doing it for her.
Right, right.
And she's doing it because she needs to redeem herself from the rumors about her and him from years ago when she was an intern at whatever network they met on.
Mm-hmm. That's probably, she's trying to look relevant and try to clear her name. Absolutely. That's why that story was brought up. Before, I thought it was an interesting like opportunity, but now I think that she's on that show just to make herself not look like she was a homewrecker, which now it makes me think like she was.
She was.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Agent Secret. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited for BB Can tonight. Summer being the social queen in the preview. Do you watch Big Brother Canada, Rachna?
No, I don't. No.
Are you going to start?
No. I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes very early on. Did you watch the first few seasons?
I've seen every season, of course.
Was it filmed at a loft space above a club?
Oh,
at Richmond and Richmond and
that
Peter?
was Lofters. So Lofters was from like 2000 or 2001, and that was like a Big Brother type show around the same time where US Big Brother started, and it was at a loft at Richmond and Spadina, where the host now actually of Big Brother Canada was on that show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that was called the Lofters, U8 TV.
Okay, I don't know if I saw the Lofters. I don't know what it was, but no, it's not. No, it's not my. No, I'll take the Housewives over Big Brother Canada.
I like strategy. Are you recapping it tonight? Okay, so Agent Secret, JoJo and I are going to be going to a bar in Kensington where we're going to watch it with other Big Brother Canada alumni and other fans. So I'll be doing a double recap tomorrow with Jonathan after the eviction episode. So yes and no. I'll try to do some Instagram stories and videos like of what goes on in the night. So we'll have that kind of content, but we'll be watching this show at a bar. So
you're gonna watch Big Brother Canada at a bar?
Yeah. This episode is just a premiere. It's a premiere party.
Oh, okay, I see. All right. I kind of want to watch The Real Housewives at a bar.
I mean, if there was a Real Housewives, there used to be a Real Housewives of Toronto. Maybe that premiere party, there'd be something that existed. But
well, I just wish there was a bar that I could go to and watch the Housewives every week, like people go watch a basketball game at a bar.
Should we invent that? That's fun. Have our own little
I think it would be a real thing.
So like Housewives reality TV all day, every day at like a bar. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not all day, every day, but like there has to be somewhere in the city that would, like
we might have to create
put it on for us if we were like, oh, there's 10 of us, we want to watch it,
Okay, that could happen, but it also might be better to just like create a bar that's for people that like watching the Housewives to go and hang out at a bar and watch it. That could be an interesting concept.
I'll let you find the capital.
We could find the capital, maybe. But what about Hot Mess? I heard that Hot Mess is going to be sold. So maybe we could buy Hot Mess and make that space a Housewives bar. Who knows? Okay.
I mean, I'm down.
Yes, I will say hi to Spicy V for you if she is there. I think she's throwing her own party in Hamilton, which is about 2 hours away. So I don't think that Spicy V will be there. This one's being hosted by Andrew from season 6 of Big Brother Canada. All right, we're almost done this episode. So Louis doesn't want to talk about the situation anymore. He just wants to make out with Teresa. I prefer how Louis handles things. Other than that one comment to Teresa, I was kind of like, it rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Other than that, like even when he was talking to Margaret, he's like, "Can't we just like have a normal conversation? Do we have to
Yeah,
be yelling?"
exactly. And I
Can we
think, yeah, exactly. I think maybe if he has influence on this show, it'll make it a little bit more like interesting to watch in this way that they actually talk about stuff and resolve it.
Yes. So we have battle of the breakfast tables. Basically, we're seeing Teresa and Jen at one conversation, and everybody else at Melissa's house having conversations at the other breakfast table. But Teresa wants Jen to come to the pink party. She wants to make things right with Jen and Melissa. I think that this shouldn't be a hill to die on.
Like the party or the conversation?
The conversation can happen, but I really don't want to see Jen at this party for them to try to resolve it because they're not great at resolving things with alcohol and a group of people.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe a one-on-one situation, you know what I mean? And be like, let's sit down, let's talk about this. Maybe without the cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's not what the show's about, but.
No, I was relieved that Jennifer didn't go to that party.
Oh my God, so happy. So it's pool time at Melissa's. This could have been fun, but I just don't like anybody at that house. So they're having kind of like these couples question, asking like, who's better at this? Who's better at that? Like, who likes this? Who likes that? It was fun, but I was rolling my eyes because I'm not a fan of anybody.
Yeah, because who cares about their sex lives?
Yeah, not me. But I guess apparently Joe watches porn while he drives, and also he entices Melissa with being a fireman and being a doctor. I'm just like,
yeah. I mean, they're like they're basic bitches and that's.
So basic. So I have to say though that I loved Dolores and Frank in their New Year's picture from like 1996.
Oh yeah, that was really good. That was a good scene. That photo was amazing.
Love that photo. I love that they've known each other for so long. I love that they're not together anymore, but they're just best friends. Like, they're my favorite. Even though he's too buff for me, like, I'm still a fan.
Yeah, I agree.
And I like that he will stand up for Dolores, like, but he's also decently rational about things. I like that he doesn't get heated in the way that other people get heated. Like, I'm okay. Frank and Dolores right now, they're my favorite couple, like, together, we'll say. I love the story too. Okay, so they went to this New Year's party and like obviously like they're not allowed to sleep in the same room. And so Frank sleeps over at Dolores's house, but he sleeps on a mattress in front of the couch. And in the morning, Dolores's mom is throwing holy water on him. I was like, that's like such like it's a good story.
Yeah,
like,
that is a good story.
That. Like, I'm gonna write that into something. So after everybody gets up, or I guess it's after breakfast, Tracy wants to know why Teresa is staying at Jennifer's. I was like, she knows her lot of you, babe, and she doesn't need to answer to you. Like, oh, I wrote down, why is she inserting herself here? I'm like, why is she? I think that we're at the party now, or it's the beginning of the pink party. I'm not sure. Jen doesn't go. I was happy that she's going to have some family time with her kids and with Bill, I'm assuming. And Tracy just kept on going at Teresa, being like, you should stand up for your brother and you guys are family. And Teresa's just like, I don't want to fight with family. I don't want to.
Yeah. And she was really teary too in that scene.
So then I wrote down, I can't stand Jackie. I can't stand Tracy. I can't stand Margaret. I can't stand Melissa. All talking about Jen being disgusting. I'm just like, I can't with you people.
Yeah.
Done with them. And then, so Tracy telling Teresa how to treat her brother was like the nail in the coffin for my liking for Tracy. I was just like, no.
Yeah, I thought I was going to like Tracy this season, but after today, I don't. I feel like she's really...
Yes, really any opportunity. Oh, a
any
storyline?
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tracy, I agree with you. Like I was hoping that she was going to be a little bit different, but now, like as she's learning how to be a housewife, it seems like she's trying to figure out a way to become a main cast housewife,
Yeah.
and so she's inserting herself in places that she doesn't need to be
Doesn't
involved.
belong. Yeah.
Like these people have known each other for over 20 years, some of them. Like you've been around for a hot minute, like you need to zip it. It's none of your
Hmm.
business. Unless
Yeah.
someone asks you, maybe if they
Yeah.
ask you your opinion, but like you deciding to narrate how Teresa should be treating her brother because you're friends with her brother's wife, like
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And yes, Chastity, Joe, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Joe. Like, we get it. Like, you got a big dick and you're great. You love sex. Like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Is that all you got? Is that
That's
it?
yeah.
Well, I'm happy that I got to get all my frustrations with you because, like, when I was watching, I was so angry.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like next week is going to be a little bit more of the same.
I hope not. I want a new storyline.
Yeah.
I don't need any more of Jen being bullied, in my opinion. I don't need any more. Like one thing that was interesting was that Jen was upset with Bill, being like, you didn't stand up for me. So hopefully we're going to see a little bit of Bill at least having to take a little bit of accountability, because it looks like the guys are all going to come for Bill next
Hmm.
episode. So I will like to see a little bit about how Bill reacts to Jackie's husband deciding to call him names and call him out. I'm just like, these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks like he just walks away, but that seems to be his style.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up his chart to see if I can find his birthday.
Oh.
I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna look at all their charts because I need to understand a little bit more about why. I think Teresa's a Taurus. Is all I think I remember. Anyways,
I
thank you for
can't wait to
being
hear
here.
about their horoscopes
Yes,
next
that'll
week.
be more entertaining probably
Yeah.
than like the episode. I will do the best to get everybody's horoscopes so we can have. I think Jackie is a Libra, so Libra is usually like balance and relationships, and they're usually a pacifist and they don't like confrontation. So that's kind of Jackie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit next week as well.
Sounds great. Have a
So
great week.
you too. Do you have anything that's going on that you want to share with the peoples?
Not currently, no.
All right, perfect. That's great. And if you guys haven't done so already, please subscribe to Reality Realness. We are building a community of people that are willing to go on a rant with me about these housewives, a rant with us, which is always fun. Always fun. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. We're trying to build. I haven't been talking about Real Housewives, and so this is the first one that we've been talking about. And so having more people that are interested in the Housewives will make us want to talk about it more. So please invite your friends to join this group as well, because we love bitching and complaining about these these franchises. To be honest. If you could leave in the comments, are you team Margaret or team Jennifer? I do want to hear, both sides of the coin here. I know I'm defending Jennifer, but I could also be swayed to maybe like Margaret if there's a good argument. So let me know about your thoughts here, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.